That's I mean that's the one that that popped up for the most of us. I think was Tunic.
Yeah, yeah. I made a joke about Vampire Survivors, but it's probably Tunic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's probably.
It's just because it's not on my list doesn't mean I don't absolutely adore Tunic.
Yeah, I mean the thing about Tunic for me is that
it flanks my list.
Is that it's just so it's so much a distillation of all the good parts of video games.
Yeah.
It has all of the wonder and mystery of older games to the point where they just decided to include the guide and manual in it but they did that, and then they turned it on its head and said, okay, but now it's also a gameplay element of it. I don't know, it's wonderful.
They said we put secret codes in the WAV files of our sound folder. You want to go find the secrets to the map in the folder of our audio?
Yeah, and Stefan called it up earlier when he said that it was akin to Fez. And once upon a time, when Fez came out on XBLA, and I 100%ed that on my 360. Yeah, I mean Fez was like a profound game to me. I loved everything about Fez.
Yeah,
maybe with the exception of its creator, but.
Yeah, like what I was saying before, Elden Ring is a video game. Tunic is a video game. But I think honestly,
Thank you, Zach.
You don't say.
I think if I could go back and like redo my list, I was talking to my girlfriend about this today, is I would put Tunic above Elden Ring because I think Tunic is the better experience of that type that came out this year, because it's so much more accessible, even though Elden Ring is still pretty accessible for that genre, but Tunic is like way more accessible, but it's still the same experience but boiled down. Like, so Dolly can play it and he's like, this isn't overwhelming, but it's the same thing, and it's like so concise, it's so well thought out.
It removes equipment, it removes levels, but keeps the same core. And yeah, I don't know, that and the fact that it's one of my all-time favorite game
soundtracks.
Music. Yeah, I mean, it was made by Lifeline. Is that So, or is that the group?
I'm pretty sure.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
But yeah, it's also like I was saying about Neon White is like
formed.
The soundtrack for Tunic just due to like the amount of clues it holds for the game in general, but also just like the soundtrack is so a part of the game's identity. It's like if you took it away, it wouldn't be the same game. Like it's just like so embedded.
What's crazy is that Zach and I have read the same. It wasn't a Medium article. Zach, or was it was either a Medium article or a blog post. But so Lifeformed, they did the soundtrack for Dust Force. That's what I knew them from, which was another kind of pseudo speedrunning game from like 2014,
2011,
something like that.
I think is old.
Oh my god, is it really that old?
Wow.
How old am I? Dust Force.
Very.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. 2012. Jesus.
January 2012.
Holy shit.
Really.
Anyway, so they did the album for Dust Force, and that's when I got to know them and have loved them ever since. But yeah, so the kind of recap on the music for Tunic was, obviously they did mostly the OST, so I don't know how much they contributed to the other sounds, but like just basic sound effects in Tunic have the coded language of Tunic is embedded within the sound effects as well. So like if you do something that's good, they embed the sound effect, they embed the language translation for like you got it right or some shit like that into the sound effect when you do something right. It's I don't know, it's just fucking nonsense. But all in the nice ways where I think that it's cool.
Yeah. It's a game that had a lot of thought and love on every level, and it shows. That's why it took them a decade to make.
I think
It took them a long ass time.
Yeah.
I think in terms of what Zach was talking about, where like Tunic and Elden Ring are kind of the same game, but just like they come at it from a different perspective. It's Tunic wants you. It's actively like welcoming you to figure out what's going on, explore and stuff. Whereas Elden Ring is actively trying to like stop you at every turn.
Tunic desperately wants all of its secrets to be found.
Yeah.
You know, it wants you to collect all the pages of. Okay, I was wondering what tell I was doing. It desperately wants you to find all the pages of the manual. It wants you to decipher every bit about it, despite how hard they make it. It wants you to figure it out. Elden Ring, it's not that it doesn't want you; it just doesn't care. Elden Ring doesn't care whether or not you find it. Dally just found out that he could do a scrolling marquee.
Yep, baby.
And yeah, that's the reason why I love that game.
Also, when this game came out, they had a Discord made for this game specifically to like share things, kind of like Elden Ring has, kind of the same thing, but it was more so driven by the community manager and stuff of like guiding this discovery. So it was really interesting how they were able to approach that.
Yeah, it would be a lot harder to, you know, it's funny that it took as long as it did to make it, because I think it would have suffered, you know, in the kind of Discord's been around for a while. But you know, the height of Discord is over the last like 2 years, and I think the pre-Discord era it would have been a lot tougher for it to be what it is.
Yeah, the GameFAQs message boards would not be the same experience.
No, not quite. Not quite.
The IGN video game section chat
Thanks.
board
Have they been
is
developing this game for so long that Discord wasn't a thing before this?
Oh, let's see.
They probably started it just before, because Discord launched in beta at the end of 2015.
I can't remember what year at PAX East Tunic was at, but I just remember playing it and thinking, man, that's going to be great when it comes out, and then 5 years later or whatever.
I would guess
2015 was when they started to develop it.
So technically they started development pre-Discord, so they didn't know that it was going to exist. But it's one of those things where you wonder, it's like, did they see what Discord was becoming and be like, yeah, this is definitely going to be a part of figuring out all of the secrets.
Yeah. Well, like, also this game's kind of it's easy to conform like discussion around discovery of this game, because it's not like railroady, but it's set on how you go through most of it. Unlike Elden Ring, where it's like, I'm gonna go that way, you're gonna go, like, it's just kind of impossible to discuss.
Yeah, the only time where it opens up is when you go through the second playthrough of the game.
Yeah, but like, and even then, like, if you and I played that game, if you and I played Tunic fresh, side by side, our experiences would still be different, because I would find different things still, and you would find things that I didn't see or go somewhere. Like, so it's
because of the way that the puzzles are designed, you know, because there are things that you can get on the first playthrough that are not required. And it's literally just about how much of the secret bits of the world that you managed to figure out. Was it the Golden Path, I think, is the main thing.
Well, my playthrough, I didn't even have a mana potion the whole entire time. I just skipped it. Like,
dude, I never used the magic, not a single time. No.
So yeah, it's just like whatever. Nope. Like,
but then again, that's how I played Elden Ring too. So it's like that part was like a direct translation to me. It was very interesting playing them in such close proximity to one another, both this and Elden Ring. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah.
I was expecting us to fight over Vampire Survivors or this, but
between the two, I would, even though I included it like high up in my top 5, I would go to war against Vampire Survivors taking top spot.
I think Tunic's definitely the better game.
Yeah.
Like I love Vampire Survivors, and we'll be playing it probably clear through 2023. But
yeah,
that doesn't change the fact. Even though Tunic wasn't on my list, doesn't mean I didn't. It's technically number 6 on my list. My bottom 5 weren't my you know, 9 through 6. Those were just honorable mentions of games that I liked throughout the year. But yeah, Tunic is easily number 6 on my list. I love Zelda games. Always have loved Zelda games.
And this is just overhead style Zelda.
And it's not even like particularly Zelda-y in terms of like the game. It's just it has the Zelda feel, which is kind of just a boy lost in the woods, like of the original Zelda, or even A Link to the Past or whatever, where you're just sort of like trying to get your footing in a world that you know nothing about. It does a very good job of doing that and speaking a language that you don't speak but yet understand. It's very fascinating way of presenting a Zelda experience without being a Zelda game.
Awesome. That's it. We did it, everybody. No crying.
No fighting.
And thanks to Phil for dropping it on Game Pass.
Jesus Christ.
I just keep that image in there forever.
Yeah,
thanks Phil for the Xbox exclusive Tunic until September of this year.